When people hear the word childhood trauma, they often think of extreme situations like physical abuse, neglect, or surviving a catastrophic event. But the truth is, childhood trauma isn't always that obvious. It can be subtle, chronic, and even normalized, woven into the everyday experiences of growing up. It might not look like trauma from the outside, but it can still have a profound impact on your emotional and physical health as an adult. If you've ever struggled with anxiety, depression, chronic stress, or even unexplained health issues, your childhood experiences may be playing a bigger role than you realize. In this video, I'm going to explore what childhood trauma really is, how it affects the brain and body, and why recognizing it is the first step toward healing. Hi, I'm Valerie, a wellness nurse. I believe that no matter your age or current health status, that you have the power to take charge of your well-being and live a longer, healthier life. My goal is to share with you the knowledge and tools that will empower you to make that happen. If you've ever felt stuck in patterns of stress, emotional dysregulation, or even chronic health struggles, understanding childhood trauma can be a key piece of the puzzle. Many people downplay or dismiss their childhood experiences, assuming that if they weren't physically harmed, that it did not count as trauma. But trauma isn't just about what happened to you. It's about how it shaped you. And the effects of childhood trauma don't just disappear as you grow up. It can influence how you think, how you react to stress, how you form relationships, and even how your body functions. So what exactly is childhood trauma, and how do you know if you've experienced it? Childhood trauma is any experience that overwhelms a child's ability to cope and creates a lasting imprint on the nervous system. Some forms of trauma are obvious, like physical abuse, emotional neglect, or growing up in a violent household or with an alcoholic or addicted parent. But other forms of trauma are more subtle. For example, a child who grows up in an environment where emotions are dismissed or punished may learn to suppress their feelings, believing that expressing them is unsafe. A child who constantly has to walk on eggshells around a volatile or emotionally unpredictable parent may develop lifelong patterns of anxiety and hypervigilance. If a child feels responsible for one of their parents' emotions, well-being, or financial struggles, they may grow up feeling guilty for putting their own needs first. And even something as seemingly small as being shamed for expressing emotions or being pressured to achieve unrealistic standards can leave a lasting impact. A child who grows up believing that love is conditional on their performance or behavior may carry that belief into adulthood, leading to perfectionism, people-pleasing, and self-doubt. The truth is, childhood trauma does not have to be dramatic to be deeply impactful. It's not just about what happened. It's about how those experiences shape the way you see yourself and the world around you. The brain and body are deeply shaped by early experiences. When a child grows up in a stressful or unpredictable environment, the nervous system adapts to that stress, often by staying on high alert. This can lead to a hyperactive stress response, where even minor stressors feel overwhelming because the body has been trained to expect danger. This is called hypervigilance. Over time, hypervigilance can take a toll on both emotional and physical health. It can lead to persistent anxiety, mood swings, difficulty regulating emotions, and even an increased risk for conditions like heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, and chronic pain. These patterns often continue into adulthood. Many people who have experienced childhood trauma find themselves easily triggered. They find themselves stuck in cycles of overreacting or shutting down emotionally, or struggling with trust and intimacy in relationships. Others may turn to food, alcohol, or other coping mechanisms to numb emotions that feel too overwhelming to process. And it's not just emotional health that's affected. The body also holds on to trauma. Many people with a history of childhood trauma experience unexplained physical symptoms, chronic fatigue, digestive issues, and persistent tension or pain. These aren't just random issues. They are often the body's way of carrying and expressing past stress. Research has shown a clear connection between early life stress and the development of chronic diseases later in life. People who have experienced childhood trauma are at a higher risk for autoimmune disorders, digestive issues, heart disease, and even osteoarthritis. This is largely due to chronic inflammation and to dysregulation of the nervous system, which can keep the body in a prolonged state of stress, weakening the immune system and increasing the risk for long-term health complications. When the body is constantly on high alert due to early stressors, it can lead to persistent inflammation, hormonal imbalances, and disruptions in gut health, all of which contribute to disease. Many people with childhood trauma struggle with chronic pain, unexplained fatigue, irritable bowel syndrome, and joint issues, sometimes for years before realizing the connection. But understanding this link is not about feeling helpless. It's about recognizing how past experiences may be affecting your health today and taking steps to support both physical and emotional healing. One of the biggest misconceptions about trauma is that if you don't remember a single life-altering event, you must not have experienced it. But trauma isn't always one defining moment. It can be a collection of smaller experiences that shape the way you see yourself and the world. If you're wondering whether childhood trauma may have played a role in your life, start by reflecting on how you felt as a child. Did you feel emotionally safe? Did you feel like your emotions were accepted, or were you told to get over it, or stop being dramatic, or stop crying? Think about whether you ever felt like you had to suppress your emotions to avoid upsetting a parent or caregiver. Did you ever feel like love and acceptance were tied to how well you behaved or performed in school? Did you feel seen, heard, and supported, or were your needs often dismissed? You know, maybe you grew up knowing that children were seen and not heard. For some, childhood trauma is obvious, but for many, it is only in adulthood that we start to recognize the ways our early experiences shaped our nervous system, our self-worth, and our patterns of behavior. Recognizing these patterns of behavior now isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding yourself. The more you can connect the dots between your past and your present, the more power you have to change the patterns that no longer serve you. The effects of childhood trauma don't have to continue to define your future. The nervous system is adaptable and healing is possible, but it starts with awareness. One of the most important steps in healing is developing self-awareness and self-compassion. Instead of judging yourself for emotional struggles or unhealthy coping mechanisms, start asking, where did this pattern come from? What am I trying to protect myself from? For some, therapy, especially trauma-informed approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or somatic experiencing, can be life changes. For others, the healing journey starts with learning how to regulate emotions, practicing mindfulness, and finding healthy ways to process difficult feelings. Physical practices can also play a role in healing. Movement, deep breathing, and even spending time in nature can help rewire the nervous system and create a sense of safety within the body. Most importantly, give yourself grace. Healing isn't about fixing yourself because you were never broken. It's about understanding yourself and learning to meet your own needs in a way that supports your long-term well-being. If anything in this video resonated with you, know that you are not alone. Childhood trauma is more common than most people realize, and its effects don't just fade with time. But understanding your experiences is the first step towards taking control of your emotional and physical health. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to learn more about healing, emotional resilience, and improving your overall well-being, please like this video so I know that there is an interest in more on this topic. Also, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please take good care of yourself.